To realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Jeremy. I am so glad that you are here. I am wearing green because it is St. Patrick's Day this weekend, but we're not going to talk about that. Today, we are talking about the one book that has made the biggest impact on my life, changed my life, and just really given me a new perspective on life. So if you're a reader like me, and I haven't always been a reader. When I was young, I used to hate reading, but when I got older, I realized, and I got to pick the books I got to read instead of being, forced to read a book in school or whatever. I realized there are a lot of stories out there that really connected with me, and I connected with it, and I loved it. I fell in love with reading. So if you're like me and you love reading, I'm sure there's a book out there or a few books that may have impacted you in such a way that you love this book. You can reread it and reread it, and you'll always love it. You'll always have a copy on hand no matter what. And I'm glad to say that I do have a book like that. And if you don't have a book like that, or you're just really not a reader, let me encourage you, pick up a book, because you never know what book might be the book that makes you fall in love with reading, or it teaches you that lesson that you just really need, or it just connects with you in just a way that you were like, man, I'm so glad I found this book. And then you just become a reader. Now, I'm not going to say this book is the reason I started reading, but I think this is the book that helped me fall in love with reading. But enough of all that. I'm not going to ramble too much, because I know the reason you clicked on this video is because you want to know what book it is I'm talking about. But real quick, let me just give this book the respect that it deserves. So this book has made the Guinness World Record of being translated the most times out of any book in the world into 80 different languages. It's also sold over 65 million copies and won multiple international awards. Needless to say, it's a book mostly everybody has either read or heard about. And yeah, it might be mainstream, that everybody knows about it and whatnot, and it's not like a little hidden gem that only I or a few people know about or whatever. But it's a book that has made such an impact on so many millions of people's lives, including my own. So without further ado, here it is. All right, so you might have guessed it by now. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But if you haven't, the book is The Alchemist, written by Paulo Coelho, the Brazilian author, in 1988. This is the 25th anniversary edition. I had to get the best one out there because it's my favorite book. And I can easily say, without a shadow of a doubt, that it is my favorite book. So hopefully you have read this book, but if you haven't, don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, because I definitely think everybody should go read this book, because I honestly think if it doesn't change your life, you're at least gonna learn something very valuable from it. I know I have. So I actually found this book by my favorite basketball player, weird enough. So I follow him on Instagram, like we do, whatever. And one day he was talking about his favorite book, and it just so happened to be The Alchemist. And he was talking about how it got him through a lot of difficult times, and how it's really affected him and changed him or whatever. And him being my favorite athlete, or one of, but it got me thinking, I was like, if he really likes this book, maybe I'll like this book. And this was just around the time I started getting into reading and reading more books and whatnot. I was really just reading nonfiction books and biographies and stuff at the time, because I was really into that. But when he recommended this, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should give it a try. Maybe I should give fiction a try. I've never really been into it, but I'm gonna give it a try. So a few days later, I go to the bookstore and I pick it up, and I take it home and I start reading it, and I'm immediately captivated by it, immediately captivated by it. It's probably the first book that I couldn't put down. I wanted to continue reading it, and I read it for as long as I could, and I think it only took me a couple of days to finish it. It's not a long book at all. It's not a hard read or anything like that. I probably could have finished it in a day and a half, but obviously there's other things going on in life. But it was one of the first books I really just did not want to put down. I just wanted to keep reading. I wanted to know what happens next. And it was weird. This book just so happened to find me at the right time in my life, and it was just what I needed in that point in my life. I connected with it immediately, and I really felt like it was me in the story. I really felt like I could have been reading a story about my dreams, or something I wanted to be doing, and it could have been me. So yeah, that's how I came across the book. That's how I found the book. And like I said, I really credit this book as my love for reading. And like I said, I used to just read nonfiction books, but now, because of this book, thanks to this book, I read all genres because you never know what book you're going to connect with, what story you're going to find, what lesson you're going to learn. You never know how just like a book is going to affect you and change you. And I credit this book for learning all that, for it just opening my eyes to new stories, new books, new opportunities. So like I said, I'm not going to spoil the story for you if you haven't read it, but I do want to read the little insert from it that kind of gives you like the setup for the story. I want to read that too, just so you know like what you're getting into if you get this book. All right. So it says, Paulo Coelho's enchanting novel has inspired a devoted following around the world. This story, dazzling in its own powerful simplicity and soul-stirring wisdom, is about an Andalusian shepherd boy named Santiago who travels from his homeland in Spain to the Egyptian desert in search of a treasure buried near the pyramids. Along the way, he meets a gypsy woman, a man who calls himself the king, and an alchemist, all of whom point Santiago in the direction of his quest. No one knows what the treasure is or if Santiago will be able to surmount the obstacles in his path, but that starts out as a journey to find worldly goods, turns into a discovery of the treasure found within. Lush, evocative, and deeply humane, the story of Santiago is an eternal testament to the transforming power of our dreams and the importance of listening to our hearts. Which leads me into the lessons that this book has taught me. And so that first lesson is to listen to your heart, not the voices, not the opinions of others around you. Listen to you and that dream in your heart. That's the only thing you need to be listening to, and that's the only thing that's going to guide you in the right direction into where you need to be. Remember, it's in your heart for a reason. And the second thing is to read the signs of life around you. On your journey, you are going to see things, hear things, notice things that will just kind of reaffirm that you are either on the right path or you are not. And you need to try to notice those things and notice opportunities around you. And it's different for everybody, but if you can notice these signs, then hopefully you can, like I said, just kind of reaffirm that you are doing the right thing, on the right path or not. So the third thing is what's meant for you will always find its way to you. I am somebody that believes in like destiny and whatever. So I truly believe that not that our paths are already determined for us, but I do believe that there is something out there for us, and that no matter what, even if we take this path or this path, that we are still going to converge and find that destiny that is meant for us. I'm somebody that truly believes that. You might be different, but this book just kind of reaffirmed that for me. So that's one of the lessons I took from it. So these last two things are probably the two biggest lessons I've learned from this book. And one is that the journey is just as important as the destination. If you are not enjoying the journey, if you are not living life on your way to that dream that you have, or that goal you're trying to achieve, or that just thing you're trying to accomplish in life, if you're not living, having fun, being happy along the way, then it's really not worth it, and it's really not going to matter. And when you get to that point, you're probably not going to be happy or in the right headspace or the right mindset. It's very cliche, but very true. The journey is just as important as the destination. You gotta live, you gotta have fun, and you can't always be looking to the future. Sometimes, and I'm struggling to do this sometimes as well, but sometimes you gotta be present, be in the now. And lastly is chase your dreams. We all got one, and you've got to chase your dreams. Don't let your dreams just be dreams. You gotta chase them, you gotta go after them, you gotta do everything you can to make them happen. You've got to create your own path. You've got to blaze that trail. You've got to do that thing. You got to make it happen. So this book really is made for everybody, and I would definitely recommend it for everybody. But really the people I think this book was made for, that would really like help them out, first off, is travelers. Like if you love to travel like I do, this book is for you. But really this book is for anybody that has a dream in their heart. It's for anybody who's working on themselves, trying to better themselves, self-improvement, self-growth, all that. It's for entrepreneurs. It's for people who are trying to make things happen, who have a dream that they're chasing it and they want to make it happen. It's for travelers, like I said, if you just want to get out in this world and experience it, create your own path, this book is for you. I can't recommend it enough. If anybody ever asked me what my favorite book was, it'd be this. If anybody ever wanted me to recommend them a book, it'd be this. And I realize a lot of people have already read this book, but in my opinion, Every time you read it, you learn something new. Every time you read it, you're just re-inspired. I don't think you could ever read this book too many times. I mean, come on, if you saw this in the bookstore, wouldn't you pick it up? I mean, it looks awesome. All right, so there you go. There is the one book that changed my life, my favorite book. I hope you read it. If you haven't, I hope you go and read it. I hope I've encouraged you, inspired you, convinced you to go pick up this book and read it. It's not expensive. I think I looked it up earlier. It's like $14. It's not a long read. You can finish it in a day or two. You got this. But again, guys, thank you for watching this video. I'm glad you are here. I hope you have an amazing day. But before you go, I want to start doing something new. I want to start ending my videos with a question that you guys can answer in the comments down below. And then we can have like a conversation, you know, we can get to know each other. We can talk. I can get to know y'all. Y'all can get to know me a little more, whatever. But the question I have for you today is, what book made the biggest impact on your life? Let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.